depends on what part of the country you're in. But where I am, it's morning, and where Fred is, 9 a.m. And to all of you around the country, thank you so much for being here. My name is Scott Zaret. I'm the president of CPAacademy.org, and today you're registered for our webinar, which is the taxation of a captive insurance company. And before I turn the presentation over, I just want to go through some administrative information. We actually had some questions already about the downloading the PowerPoint slides, and I'll just let you know that those were recently updated. There are a couple versions out there, but only minor modifications if you download it anywhere earlier than today or anytime earlier than today. But those PowerPoints are available. I encourage you to download those and print those out if you haven't already done so. It's a great way to take notes as we're moving along, and they'll be available throughout the presentation afterwards as well. You can find them by logging into your CPA Academy account or looking at any of the emails we send as part of the registration process. Now, this class does qualify for an hour and a half of CPE. You need to make sure that you remain logged in for the full course duration and you respond to the polling questions. We prepared 4 polling questions that are going to be released at intermittent times, not every 15 minutes, but throughout the presentation to make sure that you're staying engaged. When we get to that first poll, I'm going to walk you through it. We'll spend a little more time on that than any of the others, but if you haven't used GoToWebinar, I think you're going to find it very easy. The one catch, if you're using an iPad, the iPad doesn't track polling questions. I just want to mention that because more and more people use iPads for just about everything these days, but unfortunately, the polling questions aren't going to be tracked. I also just want to mention, and I mentioned this a little bit before the presentation began, that Q&A is a really important part of the process today. And so I want to ask that you please post your questions as you have them. You're certainly welcome to post them at the end, but we do expect a large volume of questions at the end. And we also have Linda on the line who's going to be answering questions as well. So don't worry about causing any sort of distraction with the presentation. Just post them as you have them. So Ed, I would now like to turn the presentation over to Fred Turner.
Okay, thank you, Scott. I'm going to start off first by going over generally what we're going to cover here, and that's the agenda slide. We're going to talk about what is a captive, because I'm sure we have different people that have different levels of experience with captives. We're going to talk about some of the reasons why more people are forming captives now, which is also going to get into some of the trends that have been happening in the commercial insurance markets, in particular over the last 25 years. We're going to talk about some of the types of captives in general, and then we're going to talk about the federal income taxation of insurance companies as it relates to captives, and then also talk about some of the choice of domiciles and give you just a short overview of the process where you implement a captive. Now, we're not, like I said before, we're not going to cover those captives that are non-controlled foreign corporations that are formed offshore and operate offshore. We will touch a little bit upon captives that are formed in a foreign domicile but elect to be treated as a U.S. taxpayer. All right, so let me get first to what is a captive. All right, some people say, well, I've never heard of captives before. Where did they come from? Well, 2006, Business Insurance reported that over 53% of the Fortune 1500 had a captive insurance company, at least one captive insurance company. Probably, if you look at the car dealers that are throughout the United States, the number is probably